What is up, guys? Evan Aldo here. Wanted to give you guys an update, a pre-recorded video update, since things are looking considerably more bearish. A few bearish signs have really popped up today. We're getting to that point. The first thing I want to, in terms of just what's going on that I want to talk about is FOMC meeting. We're getting to the point where Powell really, it's almost all but certain that the rate cut is going to happen at the next FOMC meeting, which is going to be in September. And when you get to that point, sometimes people could orchestrate that and kind of see a sell-off. You kind of inflation coming down kind of becomes more bad news rather than kind of good news. You know what I mean? We've been seeing inflation coming down more as a good news type thing, ever since kind of the beginning of 2022. Now, as unemployment rises, that becomes kind of bad news and potentially brings us down more. Now, do I think we're going into a recession? Do I think things are going to get really bad? Probably not. It's going to take time for for unemployment to get high enough to really wreak havoc and cause a recession. That's years away, I think, probably. Could even be, well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but could even be 2028 to 2030 when we see that, I would think. Could be earlier, who knows? Anyway, let's get on to the TA. So the big thing that we want to focus on here on Bitcoin is your money flow is good, but you could be. See, look at that VWAP starting to come down a little bit on the weekly. That could be a concern, especially rejecting from this area. That could be a concern. And then we like to look through, you see the higher time frames through the smaller time frames. Or is it supposed to be, am I supposed to say it the other way around? It just comes natural at this point. But look, this could orchestrate what, excuse me, what we could be seeing on the weekly relatively soon. VWAP coming down, getting that trigger wave on the 5-day, getting the trigger wave on the 4-day, could be, dropping down a little bit farther. Look at your next spider line right there, 56. I took away some of the SR points on this, a lot of them on this chart. Just wanted to simplify it up a little bit, like retro, like the olden days. And 57 right there. If you lose that, you're looking at 49, 48. Why is this a big area? This is ETF inception. ETF. What's an ETF? It's an electronically traded fund, not exchange traded fund. Sorry, don't want to waste your time. Anyway. But yeah. So that's the ETF when the ETF came out. So anyway. So essentially, that could be a really big place. That could be a really big place. From this high right here, that 73 high from March, 33% drop down. You do see traditional markets coming down a bit more. That's a big possibility, guys. That's a big possibility. I do think some of these shorts could work well. CryptoFace in his video yesterday mentioned rejecting off of this point. Makes a lot of sense, especially with that trigger wave looking good on that 3-day. It's looking very powerful for the bears. Looking very good for the shorts. These probably are not going to form trigger waves. These probably are going to form whatever, anchor waves, deep waves, potentially dropping down. Let's look at our technical target here. Could be a bit lower, right around 58.8, something along those lines. I am in a Bitcoin short right now. Got the bet hedge. There was a link set up I liked for long. That has been a bipolar crypto. But anyway, the Bitcoin short is what I kind of like right here. Potentially, coming down farther. Breaking down to some of these points, 57. Maybe even lower. We're really breaking down here. We're really, coming down. There's people selling. After Powell spoke, after the second lion spoke. The first lion is Trump, the second lion is Powell. Potentially bringing us down farther. Look, I don't think this is a nightmare for crypto. I don't think this is anything that bad, but I do think that you can easily come back to that inception of the ETF, that 48K area. Does this mean you should sell everything, run for the hills? No, most likely we're going to keep the 4-year cycle and, continue forward. It's most likely not a cycle top unless we enter like a really bad recession or something weird. But even then, I don't even know because there's going to print money. So, But I do think, all right, let's just look at the timeline here for what could happen based on that. Let's look at the timeline. Oh, man, I didn't think was thinking quicker. So in terms of a bottom, September could be around the Fed pivot. September or October could be that bottom if you do see that come down. Or, it's hard to really map that out. I mean, or we just come down in August or something. August is the red month. We come down to 49, 48K, and then we're kind of a nice recovery into the election, new all-time highs kind of into the end of the year. That could be, the end of the year, early next year, really could be the place. Let's talk about alts now. That really could be the place where alts start to really come up here. Total 3, I mean, some people think it's going to come all the way down there. It's been choppy sideways. Your technical target, if you break out of this situation, downward more against alts, is going to be right around here. I could see them bleeding a bit more against Bitcoin. I could see ETH continuing to kind of bleed a bit more against Bitcoin as well. But keep in mind, guys, don't get afraid if it does come down to here or even lower, because look what happened. When these do come up, this was in the 4-year cycle. This was very early next year. This would happen. Look at that jump up. So don't be selling everything at the exact bottom here. We got to be careful. We definitely got to be careful. You also got a good shot of making a higher low. It may only come down to this area. It's hard to kind of say here. Others versus Bitcoin too could be, this is on the 2-week. This could easily make a higher low or a double bottom in October or something. So selling alts right now, I mean, I don't think it's really worth it. I think I think just run the course. Unless you got some major crap nonsense tokens, if you got ones with good fundamentals, I think it's worth, staying the course. Not financial advice, so obviously anything could happen. The other thing I wanted to show you guys here, Bitcoin versus the DXY. Let's go on the weekly. When Bitcoin made a new all-time high here, a true new all-time high. I don't count what we have here as an all-time high. See, we didn't make a new all-time high yet. This was around December. In the 4-year cycle, this would be December of this year. That's when, what happened in December of 2020? Look, December of 2020, Bitcoin dominance topped out. This is where you could have made life-changing wealth with altcoins. This is where, I mean, Cardano went up, 10x from there, maybe more, 20x. I mean, we'd have to look at these, but let's just look at December of 2020 on some metrics here. December of 2020. Okay, you did miss a lot. That is true. I mean, I could see it being kind of like this in the 4-year cycle. September of 2020, that kind of dropped down. That summer lull here, and then I mean, what kind of drop down was this from here to here? 55, 57. We're already down that much, so yeah, it's already worse than that. So you're looking at that kind of situation there. That was when money flow got into the green. That was beautiful right there. We're still not quite there, but that trigger wave probably will give you what you need. But ultimately, September 2020, that was kind of your drop down, maybe a month or two. A lot kind of makes sense here for September of 2020. Maybe around the time the Fed pivots, a little after, maybe a month after, October, that area into the end of the year, you really start to come back. You make that new all-time high. But look where like I was mentioning, look where we went parabolic right there. So even if you got in right here, I mean, that 15x, let's say diminished returns, let's say you get less of that. I mean, who knows? Let's say we come down to 29 cents again. I don't know. I mean, if you get anywhere close to all-time highs, it's 600%, not bad. And there's other cryptos that probably will do better as well, I would think. So that's what we got to pay attention to. Comparing, Ethereum too. We looked at, let's just look at Ethereum. Sorry if this is a little, unorganized. I just wanted to give you this update since everything's dropping down. But, trigger wave to the downside right here. Trigger wave to the downside right here, nullifying kind of the green dot. I don't think that's a good thing. And if you do lose these areas, if you do lose this area right here, what are we looking at? Potentially 2,300. If we do lose that area, may have to do something else with spider lines to get us to some lower areas or whatever. I don't think we're going to lose 2,400, but I could absolutely be wrong. That's a 40% correction from where we are right now. Would be around a 30%. How could we orchestrate what would happen here into September? Something like that, September or October. That's what's kind of looking like too. If we compare it to that could be interesting, kind of almost like last year. And also, if we go way back, look right here. August, September 2020. Red area in the 4-year cycle. Now, what kind of correction was this? I'm going to not go from that wild wick upward. I'm just going to go here 30%. So maybe a little bit worse than that, I guess. I mean, if you did it like this, yeah, I mean, you almost came down that much. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but we could come down. We could come down. I'm just being as objective as possible based on, okay, this may want to play out more, in the 2 weeks. There's some of the bearish things may want to play out more. This money flow and such, things may want to, come down a little bit more, into kind of these areas. So that's what we got to pay attention to. Blood diamond in the 8-hour. We're due for one to give us something bad. We have not seen that in a while. These were both bullish. Maybe we see one that actually turns out bearish for a change. We'll see. In terms of short term, I would not be trying to catch a falling knife on Ethereum or Bitcoin right now. I mean, what are we down just on the, let's see, today is, Wednesday. We're down 6-7% of the day. Wait till tomorrow morning. We'll relook at these and see if, there's potentially a long opportunity or something. So that's what I was looking at right there. In terms of, I just wanted to go back, ETH, Bitcoin, ETH versus Bitcoin right here, let's take a look. Got a little jump up. 2-week money flow and that blood diamond is concerning. Very concerning. We want to wait for probably at least the next green dot. You're getting a monthly red dot as well, nullifying this bull div. Might have to wait for the next green dot in a few months. It's looking like potentially end of year. If we look at previous times in this, I get, if you consider this to be a 4-year cycle, I don't know if you do, but also if you think we're kind of following the run up into 2017, if we're following the year 2016 in the 4-year cycle, ETH bottomed out against Bitcoin in December, so that could be what we're looking at. In terms of that, we're right around there. I still wouldn't think you would bleed that much more, but it's possible. 20 to 25%, maybe even a little more. It's starting to look a little bit more bearish, especially with the unemployment rate and all that. It's starting to look a little bit more bearish for the altcoin versus Bitcoin pairs. Let's look at, just want to look at Matic versus Bitcoin as well. Here, just to look at a few of these, just a little peek here. Coming up a little bit, but it's still like that catching falling knife territory. At minimum, I would be looking at that monthly green dot here. And it does look like you could kind of lose this a little bit more, come down a bit more to this area, maybe even lower, who knows. But we got to just, we got to keep in mind here, it's probably at the earliest going to bottom out when the Fed pivots. At the latest, probably end of year, early next year. So, that's what we kind of got to realize here. And the other last thing in terms of, I don't want to be overly, I mean, it's not the most pessimistic thing, but in terms of this 4-year cycle, it was not until May of 2017 that you made a new all-time high. So in terms of that, it would be May of 2025 that you make a new all-time high, that getting up to 75K. We have not made a new all-time high factoring in inflation. We haven't made it there. It's kind of, look at, I didn't realize that. See, you almost did in March. No, that was March. That's not in the 4-year cycle. Never mind. We're in the 2016, yeah. But you almost did that, yeah. So if we do look at this, I mean, you're 28, 30% down. Where was this correction? This was June of 2016. Your bottom was in August. So we're, maybe it's August. We're getting into August. Maybe August is your real red month, following that. So it does seem like we will have a red August. And then alts could continue to kind of bleed against Bitcoin right now. So I'm going to sit back, in my short position that I'm in right now and kind of just watch this market and just, see what happens on these spider lines. Maybe at 63, we could see a little bit, of relief here, but it's looking like bear div and all that, trigger wave on the 2-day. It's looking like we could come down, and we could come down quickly here. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Special like button if you enjoy this. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow. If you guys want to join the Discord with that Bitcoin short, want to find out more information on that. If you guys want to trade, check out FAIRDESK down below. Also check out Bybit and BloFin down below as well. If you deposit at least $100 onto any of those exchanges And open support ticket in Discord with your UID and an exchange you signed up for. We'll give you one free month in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord. All right, guys, have a good one. Goodbye.